For loops are incredibly handy when we are programming, and sometimes in a program you may want to repeat a sequence of steps a certain number of times, and a for loop can be used to do that. And when we program this, we can specify the number of times that it'll go through, or we can use a counter, or we can say for a range. So I'm going to show you a few examples here. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to show you how the same code can be used for a for and a while loop. And typically, obviously, we should just choose one, because one will obviously run a certain number of times, and then one will break on a condition. But if you want to stop a for loop, you can stop it sort of in the same way as you would stop a while loop. You can break out of them. So let's say, for example, we're going to do a number list. So watch this. For I in range, I'm going to say 10. Okay, now what that means is, for I in range 10, it means we've got a throwaway variable here, which is I, and in range 10 means it'll loop this code 10 times. Now if I say this, print hello, and run it, watch what happens now. Let me get rid of that horrible thing. So you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hellos here, which is quite nice. So what's the significance of this I? Well, each time I goes round, oh my gosh, I can't type again. So, right, I'll get it right this time. Print I. Right, there we are. Oh my gosh. Print I. There we are. Good. Okay, my keyboard doing something funny there. So what we have got now is we've got hello, and then we've got print I. So let's run that. So every time this program iterates, in other words, every time we go through a loop, it starts off its first loop at 0. Then it goes 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. And you'll notice then it stops at 9. Now the reason for that is, in programming, we typically start at 0. We start counting at 0. We don't actually start counting at 1. So this is a really quick way that we could get our program to loop around something 10 times. So if you wanted to, you could do the same sort of thing, but using a while loop. So underneath, I'm going to show you how to use a while loop. Now, with a while loop, you'd need to declare a variable. So I'm going to, instead of using I'm going to use k equals 0, and then we're going to say while k is less than 10, print k. Ooh. Now then, what will happen with this, if we just played it, it will be an infinite loop, because we haven't told k to do anything. So if we do k plus equals 1, that now will iterate 1 each time. So let's play this. So you can see now it's got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 9. That's our first loop. And you can see now our while loop is going there. So both of these are doing the same. The only difference is this uses 4 lines of code, and that one there uses 2 lines of code. Now another example of a range is basically printing certain numbers. So watch this as an example. So if I say print, and we're going to say numbers 1 to 5. So we're going to print the numbers 1 to 5, and then we're going to say number in range, and we're going to do 1, 6. So what this is doing is we're basically saying a range to start and a range to stop. We're then going to say print number, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say end equals. Okay, so let's see what this does. So we say numbers 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, sorry, we haven't got 7, 8, but you can see it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we get rid of this end, what does that actually do? Well, watch. So that end is quite significant because that end will basically put the numbers on a line. So that's another little tool that you can use to help you when you're programming. So we've got a few things going there. This is a for loop, and we've done while loops in the previous video. For loops can also be used to step. Okay, so in this example, we're going to print every third number. So we're going to print every third number, and so I'm going to say for number in range. Now I could say for I in range if I wanted to, but I'm not. So 1, so 20, and then 3. So what we've done is we've put 3 conditions in here. Okay, so we've got, sorry, not conditions, 3, what's the correct word? Probably is a condition. We've put 3 parameters in here. Okay, so we've got 1 to 20, and then skip every 3. So if we just do this, print number, and I'm just going to have the numbers going down in a list here now in this one. So you can see it's got there, look, 1 skips 3 to 4, skips 3 to 7, skips 3 to 10, skips 3 to 13, until we get to 19. And notice what it's done there now. It stopped at 19, and the reason being, it can't go past 20, because 3 more, then it stops at 20. What happens if this was, let's say for example, we'll do 200. Now I will have to put the little end container on here. So you can see it's gone all of the numbers up to 199 again. Okay, because obviously it can't do 1 more, because 1 more is 200, but it actually needs 3 more. So you can see for loops are quite good. Now if you wanted to, we could do a times table. So we could say print times table, and watch this. Ooh. Now I've asked you to do a times table with a while loop, so this will be as easy. So if we do for I in range, and then we're going to do 12, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say print, and I'm going to basically have it so that it's going to print 1 12 to 12, 2 12 to 24, 3 12 to 36, and so forth. So I'm going to say print I, comma, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do another comma, and then I'm going to do I multiplied by 12. Now that looks a little bit complex, but really it is fairly straightforward. So what this is doing is I is automatically going to increment, but there is going to be a little bit of an issue with this, which you'll see in a moment. So I, this here is just text, and this is the calculations. Let's see what happens. So it starts off at 0, but then it only goes up then to 11. And all we need to do is we need to change that to go up 1 more. And then all of a sudden, look, we've got then 12 12 is 144. So this is a really easy way to get Python to create a times table for us. And likewise, if you really wanted to, you could tell it to do it 1,000 times. And bam, like so, it'll then do 1,000 times tables of the 12 times table. So this is quite nice, it's quite easy, it's quite good, and we can get a lot done with this fairly quickly. Now the other way that you might need to use a for loop or even a while loop is what we call a nested loop. So let me give you an example here. So we're going to add in, we're going to give you an example of using a nested loop. So a nested loop is a loop within a loop. So if we do this, for I in range 10, and then what I want to say is for k in range, I will do 10 again. Now, the reason I'm using these are throwaway variables. So print, what we'll do is I multiplied by k. Now, have a think of what that's going to do, first of all. How many times is that going to loop, do you think? Well, let's run it, because it's going to loop a fair few times. Okay, so let's have a look then. Let's dissect this. So we've got, starts off with all zeros. So if we look, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh. And then we start then, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth. Why is it doing this? Well, what happens is, when we hit this first for loop, this I is 0. So it's sending a 0 to here, and then when it goes in this here, k starts as a 0. Now, 0 times 0 is going to be 0, which is our first one. So this then will loop again, and I is going to be 0, but k is going to be 1. So 1 times 0 is also going to be 0, so it's going to loop again. This time k increments 1, but again I is 0. So it'll be 2 times 0. So this is why these start off with 0. And then what happens is, once this part of the code has gone round 10 times, right? Once this one's done 10 times, it goes out, back to I here, and I gets incremented by 1. And then it'll drop back into this k. And then all of a sudden, it's 1 times 0 again, which is here. Then you've got 1 times 1, 1 times 2, 1 times 3, and so forth until it gets to the end, and then it loops back again, and then I becomes 2, but k is 0. So this essentially is a nice little loop here, and it's a nice little way that you can see how the loop works. What happens though if we have a loop within a loop? Well, they'll just keep on going. A loop within a loop will keep on going no matter how many times you have specified it, obviously until a computer crashes. So what I'd like you to do is this. I'm going to put 1 or 2 really quick tasks on Moodle for you. If you can complete them, send them to the assignment drops. These 4 loops, they're going to be fairly easy for you to understand if you've just done the while loops, and you'll be able to then submit everything to me. Best of luck.